Hello, and thanks for looking back at the channel. And this week I'm finally going to get around to a light service to try and get this very nice Hornby Dublo Duchess of Montrose running. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. I've been waiting for a couple of sets of brushes to arrive because unfortunately, even though I've got some in a box, I can't find mine. Well, I've got the brushes, so I think the main part of this week's video will be a light service on this loco and seeing whether it'll run round the Hornby Dublo test track quite nicely with these suburban coaches. Now there's the little tank loco we did feature a few weeks ago, and next to it is something I've come across while I was looking for the brushes, so that'll be our next Dublo restoration project, something to get running. So I'll take a look at that when we come back to the Montrose in a little while. Now I'm not going to totally forget about the Super 4 layout in this video. So I do have a couple of locos running, and I'll take a minute to show them to you now. Now you may recognise this lovely light green southern rebuilt West Country class. It's the Lyme Regis. Now it's been on the channel before, but I thought it would be really nice to get it hooked up in front of these Wrenn Pullmans that I featured last week. So I've had a bit of a tidy up on the layout, put a few of the locos away, but I thought probably this will be the last bit of rebuilt West Country class running for a while, so it would be nice to finish off with what I consider to be one of the more attractive locos. I guess this light green's just a colour I enjoy looking at, but it does look good with Wrenn Pullmans behind it, and it's just going around. It's running nicely, going around quite quietly, and the coaches are behaving really well. Now let's not forget about Triang. I need to get some more Triang locos back on the channel, so let's start here again. The little Jinty, and this is the superb gloss red LMS one. Well, I've got that hauling a very colourful mix of wagons around, and it's just going at quite a sedate pace on its goods duty today, and running very smoothly. In fact, this is a totally unmodified X04 standard motor in this Jinty. It hasn't had a lot of time on the track, but it really is a superb runner, and it can just demonstrate what these locos must have been like when they were brand new. Really quiet, great performance, and just superb. Well, I'm going to get back to the test track now and to the Duchess of Montrose, and we'll get the body shell off and see what sort of condition it's in. I do know it needs a set of brushes, so the originals have been either taken for another loco or just misplaced, I don't know. But we'll get to that, and then to round off the whole of the video this week, I'll end up with a few shots of this Lyme Regis and the maroon Jinty at slightly different angles, just to finish the video off. So for now, we'll get back to the three-wheel test track. Right, well, I'm at the test layout and I'm going to have a go at this Montrose. So firstly, let's get the body off. Now the front bogies, don't be tempted to undo that front bogie retainer, because there's a nut inside that will fall out. If you want to take it off later you can, but just move it carefully to the side and then you'll see the body's held on with a nut. So I use a nut spinner. I bet it's been taken off with pliers in the past, so don't worry, it'll probably be quite marked. And then there's the special bolt, and on this one a washer, but probably not on all. It's amazing how fixings get lost over the years or substituted. But anyway, that's the body retaining nut and bolt, so I should be able to get this off now. Now I prefer, before I take the body shell off, to take the rear bogie off. It just makes everything easier. So that's just a little flat-headed screw. On this one there is a washer, so I'll put that to one side, and then the tender drawbar. It makes it easier to see what's going on with this clip. So let's just get this out. So there's the big old body shell. Nice condition actually. Put that to the side. Right, here's a little tip. I mean, there are loads, I'm not going to go into this too deep, there are loads of really excellent videos on Hornby Dublo servicing, so I'm just giving you my spin on it. So I'm going to put a rubber band around this front bogie. Just, there we go, hold on, fingers and thumbs a bit. Right, that'll just stop it flapping around, because if you look on the underside of the cylinders, there's loads of paint loss there where the bogey's been flapping around, but you can minimise any further by just putting a rubber band round. So yeah, looking at this then I can see that the brush holder is, the brush retainer is unplugged, the other one is not present. So apart from that, it looks pretty good. I'm not going to test the armature, I mean it's not absolutely beautiful, but let's see how we go. Now on this one, you can see it's really free. I can spin the wheels and the gear, the worm on the armature's actually spinning. Now that doesn't happen on a lot of locos. I think that just probably shows how well this one has been worn and it's bedded in, so don't expect yours to do that. If it does, it's a bonus, but for cleaning the commentator, but don't worry. Now I've shown you that nut driver. A couple of other tools I really recommend. Cheap scratch brushes. You can get them on well-known auction sites. They're really good. That one's got like a steel wire brush. That one is a brass wire brush. And then this one is glass fibre. You can buy refills. Now, I use the glass fibre especially for cleaning the commentator. Now, I might be able to just, because I can work at this just gently, very important not to touch the little wires where the windings are soldered on. You can spend a bit of time on this. You don't need to try and take the armature out. Just give the commentator a jolly good clean, and then when you've got it sharp, and I'm using this craft knife, just stroke gently the little break between the segments just to make sure there's nothing stuck down there. Now that should get you sorted out to the point where you're ready to do something with the brushes. Now here's another tip. Now the brushes are out of this one, as we know. Here's an old cotton bud, and I've pulled off most of the actual cotton bud material, and it makes a really great tool for cleaning the actual brush holders. You can thread it in, turn it round, pull it out again. That's gone, a lot of carbon on there. But a real problem with these motors, if the brushes just stick, you'll get some really poor running, so it's important to clean these brush tubes out. Right, well I'm just going to finish off cleaning the commutator, and I'm also going to give the wheels a bit of a clean, and these shoe bits. So I'm going to do that off camera because that's going to take a few minutes. So when we come back, we'll have a look at the brushes. Now, just before I do all that, here we are. This is what I was waiting for. Got a packet of brushes, packet of brush springs. These are Wrenn ones, but they're very similar to Hornby Dublo. I use them. Unfortunately, they weren't 11p for the springs and 24p for the brushes. But I'm not going to be opening those because I had a bit of luck. I had a little brainwave about some brushes, and look, there's even a couple of brush retainers in there. So I've got a few springs, some quite well worn brushes, but there's a couple in there with plenty of life on them. So I'm not going to open the new ones now. I have actually managed to find some. Right, well I'm going to have a little slurp of my tea, get that all cleaned up, and then join me and we'll get some brushes in and see how it looks. Okay, well, I've got this pretty much cleaned up. Wheels are a bit cleaner, shoes are alright, commentator looks good. So I think actually just before I sort the brushes out, which I've just picked out and put there, I'm just going to remag it, because I do have one of those Ronald Dodd remagnetisers. I can see which way north is just using my compass, so I'm going to just bring the device into view and give it a quick blast. That's all it takes. A couple of quick pushes of the button. You can tell already that that feels much stronger on the magnet, so pretty happy with that. So there's sort of the motor cleaned and ready for brushes. I've put a spot of oil on all the moving joints using a little oiler. Please don't go mad with the oil. I mean, critical is this top bearing. If you over-oil that, I guarantee the oil will get straight onto the commentator and brushes. That's the most common thing I see in these locos, and you will just not get any consistent running at all. If you think there's been oil on your commentator, reach away, something similar, lighter fluid or anything else that's safe to use on these. I mean, lighter fluid seems to be quite good. Just on a cotton bud, clean as much as you can of any oil off, and then do that another couple of times, and also clean your brushes. So now these haven't got oil on, but because they've been used in different motors, I like to give them a fresh start. So I just get a little bit of emery paper and just gently on each end of the brush give it a little stroke, just to remove any, just makes it dead flat, removes any previous wear. You will get black fingers doing that, the carbon's dirty stuff, but it does wash off. So those are now pretty much sorted out. So the only thing I'm missing really to put the brushes back in is a retainer. So if I just go in my little gramophone needle box, there's a spare one. Let's see how that fits. So good. You can, they have a little split, so you can, if they're very loose, you can just open the split. I don't know whether you can see that on the camera. I've got tried to get my nail in there. Just open it a tad so it grips well. Let's see. Now that pushes in beautifully. It doesn't want to be too tight, as does that one. Okay. Right, I might fiddle around a bit doing this because I've got my glasses on and it's on the camera, but I'm just going to introduce a brush, and that just has slid straight down. I'm sorry that went off camera. It just slid straight down, so we know it's lovely and smooth in the tube. There goes a brush spring, and you can tell now that's sticking out the back. Now you have to be careful it doesn't ping off somewhere when you go to put the retainer in. Just gently, that's got that. Push it in, so there's your brush, your spring. Let's do the same on the other side. It's gone straight down. It's great when they fall down that brush tube, the brushes, you know that they're not catching on anything. That's a really good thing to happen. Right, I'm just going to get this into place. Right, well that's, just make sure that suppressor isn't touching anywhere it shouldn't. That all looks pretty good. I think the time has come just to place that on the track. Now I'm just going to put that down there. I know I've still got the rubber band on the front bogie, but it's clear of the track, so for a little test, let's just apply a bit of power. Ooh, straight off. Now bear in mind this is going to have to bed in, but we've got good life there in this loco. So I don't think I'm going to do anything else. I think we'll get the body shell back on and run it round the track a bit and see how it goes. I mean, you can get really involved in this and take every single nut and bolt and screw out and completely take the motors apart, but I just tend to try and get them running fairly well. We know the magnet's good. I'm pretty sure that armature is going to be fine, because it wouldn't start up and move like that if there was an armature fault, but no need to get the multimeter on that. Suppressors can cause trouble, funnily enough. You can often find a poor running loco. If you're not happy, just disconnect it just for a little while, just to see if it makes any difference. If it does, you know there's a problem. Right, well, I'm going to get the body shell back on, and we're going to see how it goes round the 3-rail test track. Okay, well, the Montrose is back on the track. Got my hand on the trusty Meccano A3 controller. Going to start feeding in some power. And she's moving. So let's just see what's available in terms of speed. Oh my goodness, plenty, look at that. So I think slow it down slightly, and let's let those brushes start to bed in. Great noises from the rolling stop. You see it's already starting to speed up slightly. I think I'm going to have to back off again in a minute. As it gets warmer and the brushes bed in, the speed will increase. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this light touch recommissioning of this loco. This is the sort of thing that I start off doing on all my locos that have been in storage. No need to go bonkers and strip them right out, I find. If there's a major problem, then it's time to really start seeing what needs doing. I'm having good fun driving this. It's very flexible. I mean, let's see if I can slow it right down. Look at that, and this isn't bedded in yet. Some nice running there. Now, I'm quite flattered to say that a couple of channel subscribers have sent me locomotives to look at now. That's something I never thought would happen, but I'm quite intrigued and I'm looking forward to looking at them. So I might take the time to video the action of what happens when I strip them down. Indeed, I'm going to be looking at the first one when I next get some spare time. It's a Hornby Jinty, last with the XO3, XO4 type motor, and it's got some sort of dead short problem. I did try it on the track and it's just dead short, so it'll be interesting to see what's up with that. And I will report back or include a video segment in one of the upcoming videos. Well, that's going quite nicely. I have got one more item to show you quickly before we go back to a few shots of the Super 4 running I showed earlier. Look at this. Hornby Dublo locomotive and tender LMS, City of Liverpool. That is a great looking model, isn't it? Let's just see if I can get the glare off the photo on the box. Came across this while I was looking for items to run on the Super 4. Something I've had for a long time. Now, I did try it on the track, it's not going at all, so that's going to need a bit of a going over, but I'm quite encouraged. Check that armature out. Lovely windings on that. I don't think that's seen much action. Nickeled wheels. Indeed, let's have a look at the condition of the shoe. Well, it's seen some running, but that's just tarnishing rather than wear. So I think this is going to be a great item to recommission and get on the test track. So that will be our next Hornby Dublo project. Well, while the Montrose drips around the track nicely like this, I'm going to leave that to run for a bit longer. I'm going to edit in now some final shots of the Lyme Regis in the Jinty. And for this video, for now, I'm going to say goodbye.